don't you dare, please do not buy a lot without your builder seeing a lot. Okay, just don't do it. I don't care what kind of deal it is. Get your builder to go look at it. There's so many issues with lots that you need to be aware of.
Thank you. Don't mess with Texas.
Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. If you're a builder, you're a nut. Cassie, what are we doing today?
I've certainly experienced that with you, Mike. Today we are discussing what the process is like when you're designing a custom home, the first steps that you should take when doing that. And so I'm going to pick Mike's brain a little bit about those steps and the best way that you can be prepared when it comes to building your first custom luxury home. So, where do you start?
Well, so years ago, before Pinterest and all those things, people used to bring these big binders, literally notebooks this thick of pictures. And they have pictures from everything they ever saw. They sketches, they draw their own house plans, all that. Pinterest is, and other sites like that, Instagram have helped consolidate that now. So they'll create Pinterest boards on the house, they'll have them, or they'll create digital folders of all their pictures. But what we want our owners to do when you're designing a house is you need to get together, you need to get visual representations of what you're trying to do. Pictures, sketches, designs, anything you can to put it down in front of your builder and architect so they can actually see what you're trying to do. Because talking to me, it's words don't always convey what you're trying to accomplish. Pictures are the easiest way to do that. The other things you have to be worried about. You want to have a budget. I mean, is it $1 million? Is it $5 million? Is it 300,000? Whatever. You need to figure out your approximate budget, what you can afford, because your budget will have some guidance on where you're going to build your home. Some folks will have a budget of X, but they look at a certain community where X would be too expensive for that neighborhood, or they may have a budget of X and they go to another community and X is not going to accomplish that. So you want to have pictures of what you're trying to accomplish in the home. You want to have approximate budget, what you want to spend, and you want to have a wish list of all the things you want to have in your house.
When they're going through this process, do they need to pick out a certain builder, and when they do, how many builders should they look at?
Well, yeah, you want to interview builders, and our bias is you should only talk to one. But no, seriously, you probably talk to 2 or 3 different builders. You want to talk to builders who specialize in the type of product you're building and in the communities you're building in. For example, there's some really I have very good dear friends of mine that build out in Dallas County. If they were to come over here to certain communities over here, they may not be as in tune with what's going on over here, may not know the procedures and what have you here, and vice versa. If you were to ask us to build a project out in like East Texas, we're not going to be as in tune with that market as some of the local guys. So you want to interview builders and see who is capable and who has built projects similar to what you're trying to accomplish, and 2, serves the area you're looking at.
Sure. And so you say serves the area that you're looking at. What are some of the specifics that you should be looking at when you're selecting a lot?
I mean, everybody, you look at a lot, and there's a lot of beautiful lots, and you fall in love with it, but there's so much more to it. You need to know what your covenants and architectural control requirements are. So you can find a great lot for a reasonable price in a certain neighborhood, but the covenants and restrictions may create issues and costs that you may end up spending money on things you don't want to spend on, or vice versa. Maybe you find a lot in a neighborhood you really like, but the covenants aren't as strict as you would like. So you may build a great home there, and somebody next door to you may build something that's totally uncomplimentary. So you want to also get a survey and plat of whatever property you're going to purchase. There are things on the plat and survey that builders and architects need to look for that are very, 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 very important. And I say that because sometimes people say they'll bring us a tax map, or they'll bring us a sketch with the dimensions. That won't cut it. You can have some setbacks or easements or other issues on the lot that are not readily evident when you walk out and drive it, that could create big issues for your neighbor community, your build. Yeah, there's other things we need to see. The drainage study. Subdivisions usually have what's called a master drainage plan. We need to see that. And then having a topography and tree survey is also very helpful.
What is a plat?
Plat. So a survey is built based upon the plat, but a survey is just lot specific. It shows a lot specific of your parcel. The plat is a subdivision specific. Sometimes it's one lot, sometimes 20, 50, 100. And the plat will show all the lots. But on the plat, there'll be other data in there, building setback lines, easement. There'll be other things on there that may not always be on a survey. So you need to have both. And also on the plat, there'll be some notations along the side that the architect will need to see.
Okay.
So you want a plat and a survey.
Okay. And so where does orientation come into play here when you're talking about a lot? Where it's oriented to the city, to a highway?
Well, yeah, great. So if you have a certain parcel that, well, back at orientation, the one orientation is which way do you want your house to face?
Sure.
There are some folks that they want to always have a north-facing house or an east-facing house, and some people like a west-facing house so their backyard doesn't get the sun. So you want to try to. You can't always do that because there's limitations, but you want to try to find a lot that's orientated. Your house is orientated the way you want it to be orientated. Then the other part of that is what is the unique perspective of that lot? View, is it water views? Is it views? Is it privacy? Understanding what's around the lot will tell you what you need to design your house for. We were in Austin at the AIA tour this weekend, and we saw a lot of great properties, and most of them were built to take advantage of the lot. We had one that had beautiful views of the valley and the city, and others that had views of some water features. So you want to know what the features are of your house. So when you design your house, the orientation of the house complements those. If you just built a standard old house plan on a lot with no consideration what's out there, when you get in your house, you may not be seeing what you want to see.
Certainly. And so, we kind of mentioned this whenever we initially started talking about the process, but when owners are looking for an architect and they're meeting with an architect, what sort of materials do they need to bring with them when they're meeting with them?
Well, so going back, you talk about interviewing builders. You should also interview architects and designers. Now, let's talk about the difference. An architect is a state licensed professional that can design homes, and they design, or buildings or what have you. They have specific protocols for what they do. A designer, a home designer, is someone that can draw a home. It's like a draft. They're more than a draftsman, but they can design a home, but they're not an AIA licensed architect. A slight difference there. But for generic terms, an architect, when you want to talk to 2 or 3 different architects at least, and you want to find someone that you feel comfortable communicating with. Because when you're sitting there for hours talking about, trying to share with them the things we're going to talk about, you need to make sure they hear you and understand. The good architects will draw whatever you want. They're there to take your dreams and create a home with it. And you need to make sure you can communicate well with them. And you're going to communicate with them with the various elements. Pictures, going back to pictures, sketches. God bless them. We have folks that draw their own plans. We all have a little laugh about it, but it does help because it does show their expectations of where they want their rooms to be. Also understanding room location. Do you want your study in the front of the house, or do you want it in the back of the house overlooking a feature? Do you want your study isolated where people can't see your mess, or do you want it up front where it's a show study? So you want to have those type of priorities noted.
And so whenever you meet with the architect, if you've already done some research on the lot that you want, those would be things that you would want to bring in the meeting as well, or in the several meetings that you have with them as well.
Yeah, well, I would say number one, backing up a step, don't you dare, please do not buy a lot without your builder seeing the lot. Okay, just don't do it. I don't care what kind of deal it is. Get your builder to go look at it. There's so many issues with lots that you need to be aware of, and your builder can help you. A good builder can help you accumulate the documents you need to take to your architect, your plat, your survey, any specific issues, covenants, what have you, like that. But yeah, then you can take that lot package to your architect, and then you can work with him. That will help him create the fundamentals for the house.
And so I also want to back up a step too and just ask if it's normal that you see builders connect owners with the architect themselves, or do you primarily see owners find the architects and do that research?
Great question. So, ideally, you would want, in a perfect world, you want your builder working with the architects they have a relationship with, because they know how to communicate. When a builder, an architect, or home designer, we talk shop, we talk in builder terms. So and if we each know that communication thread, it's easier to convey things, and we can refer back to a previous project. So you remember when we did that fireplace like that over here? We want to do this here, or I need to make sure we have this much clearance here. Or you remember I don't like this, and having a relationship with the architect and the builder makes it easier for the owner. So that being said, a lot of times our owners will come to us and talk to us about their projects, and then we'll take them to an architect, several architects, and let them interview to see which one's best for them.
And so in these meetings, are you normally taking part of these meetings, or are you kind of stepping out and just letting them discuss what they need to?
So our program, I have other dear friends that do this as well. Our program is we like to be at the architectural meetings because we can catch things that may be challenging, or we may see opportunities to do things with the design of the home that maybe everybody else is missing. It also allows us as the builder to have some foresight into what's coming down the road, so we can prepare and think about the things we need to do to accommodate in pricing or elements. If you all of a sudden you draw in a exercise room that's elevated over a garage, we can there's certain things that we want to be aware of, and we can be thinking ahead of that versus just getting plans.
Sure, like support and stuff for the extra weights that are going to go up in that room.
Yeah,
right.
Or so anytime we can see data earlier in the process, the better it is for everyone.
So if an owner has already purchased a lot, they didn't hear our podcast and they decided to go out and purchase it, that would be something that they would want to take in the meeting with the architect, is any sort of information regarding their home or regarding,
Yeah. So one thing on the list of things, make a list of things that you want and like, make a list of things you don't like. And one of the first questions we ask our owners when we're in their house is visiting is, what do you not like about your house now? Or what do you wish you would change? So sometimes it's not so much about what you like, it's about what you don't like, because sometimes we can figure out why you don't like something, and we can figure out a way to mitigate that. So maybe you don't like your kitchen. Why don't you like your kitchen? Because it's too cramped. Well, we can work through that with the architect and designer.
So this process seems pretty long. There's a lot of moving parts. There's the architect, there's the designer, there's the builder, and then of course there's the owner's input as well. So how long does it take to design a luxury home from scratch?
So if you had everything ready to go and you sat down with you selected your builder, you selected your architect designer, and you had your plat figured out and your lot figured out, everything ready to go, you went and sat down with them. You ideally would get your first sketch back in about 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. Excuse me. Your subsequent drawings will take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, unless there's a major redraw.
And what would prompt a major redraw?
A major redraw is if he or she, the designer or architect, draws something and it doesn't work. The owner looks at it and says, "Oh gosh, no, it doesn't work," or maybe there's a misinterpretation, something wasn't interpreted correctly, or maybe once you see it in paper, you say, "No, I don't want that. I want this," or maybe they saw something on TV and everything like that. That happens a lot. So that would be a major redraw. Then you're probably at 8 weeks. Our plan, our hope is that we can get the first draw pretty dang close, and it's just fine tuning from there. Now going back to that though, you can't. Well, actually, people have, but do not draw your house without the lot. Well, I have several folks that will have this house plan. Will come up. This is the house I want, and I'm going to go buy this lot over here, and it won't work. And that goes back to the orientation, all that. So you get your lot first secured, either by contract or by option or by you purchasing it. Then you draw your house. Don't put the horse before the cart.
And
Cart before the horse.
so just to recap, it's find your builder, pick your builder first, then go buy your lot after the builder has checked on it, and then get the architect to draw.
Ideally, yes.
Okay.
Ideally, yes. A lot of times people will buy the lot and then they'll find the builder.
Right.
But,
But we're talking
which it
about
works.
perfect
Yeah, perfect
situation,
world.
and for the first time custom home buyer, this is the order of operations that you should follow.
Ideally, you'd have your builder selected first. There's a whole host of reasons for doing that, but one of them is that builder can guide you through pros and cons of certain lots or budgets or things like that ahead of time that you may not be able to fully address if you already bought the lot.
Sure. Okay, so we talked about designing a custom luxury home, how long it could take. Is there any situation in which it could take longer than 8 weeks?
Yes, we've had them go a year, and usually you can get the floor plan done fairly quickly, but all the fine touches and the details. So how it works is you'll draw a rough concept floor plan, maybe a rough elevation. You'll say, yeah, I like that, and then you start doing the fine tuning on each room. And, you want to have furniture measurements. If you have specific furniture items for like a dining room table or a pool table or a type of bed or a armoire, you want to have those measurements so that the architect can incorporate it into the house.
Okay, so is that important to have beforehand in initial meetings or things whenever you're doing the rough estimation? So this would be part of the list that they would take in with them in these initial meetings.
Ideally, yes. If it's a must-have, I say that must-have. If you must have a pool table, then you need to communicate that to the architect. If you have a game room, say, "Oh, we should have a pool table," we can certainly do it later in the process. If you have a specific piece of furniture that you want in your dining room or in your bedroom, what have you, and you know it's 114 inches long and 9 feet tall, whatever, you should have that information ahead of time, wherever possible, and be able to communicate that. If you know you're going to get a king bed or a California king or a specific, you want to know that too as well. But that's part of the fine tuning process once you get the floor plan down.
So when does groundbreaking begin after that?
So, well, the way it works, so you go in, you have your builder meeting, you talk about your lot, you go meet the architect, get the architect to start drawing, take you 3, 4, 6 months to design the house. Now a lot of times, okay, let's go. No, you can't go yet. So now we have to, once we get the plan finalized, and the final means construction documents. And construction documents means that's when the architect proofs it out, draws all the electrical lines in there, draws all the details in there, all the spec sheets, all that. It's a big old plan. Sometimes they're 10 pages, sometimes they're 50 pages. It has everything done. So he's done, he's finished. Then we have to go get engineering, and there's multiple engineering. There's foundation engineering, there's structural engineering, the frame. There's audio video engineering. We have to engineer the audio video system. You have energy code. You have retaining walls. And all those take times, and they can take anywhere from 30, 60, 90 days.
Oh my God.
Oh, drainage, you have to get a civil engineer to do. Often you have to get a civil engineer to do drainage study, and those take time. Now, some of that you can do a little bit earlier in the process, but you have to get all that done, your energy code compliance, get all that done before you can even start filling out a building permit.
Okay.
Or
The
pricing out the house. You have to have all that to price out the house.
So is the owner responsible for all of this information?
If you have a good builder, the builder will take care of all that for you. It's part of it.
Are you a good builder?
I don't know. My mom said I was. But yeah, no, the professional builders, going back to knowing a builder that is familiar with the communities and areas you're building in, they're going to know all those things. They're going to know the engineers to talk to. They're going to know the energy code compliance officers. They're going to know all the things you need to know so they can handle that all for you and put the package together and get it priced out. Yes.
And so how does someone just sort of prepare themselves before making a decision to say yes to a builder? How do they make sure that they do their builder will do these certain things for them?
Oh, well, just to prepare yourself and how they make sure. Prepare yourself probably a stiff drink because it can be it can go on. No, but that's what goes back to interviewing builders. If you've seen builders building communities that you are inclined to be in, that's a good sign. You ask for referrals.
I guess I'm asking for specific maybe documentation that they could ask for, or without maybe having to go out and speak to other people that they've worked with, because so many people can just use their words and be very persuasive in that way. And so I'm asking so that people have a finite thing that they can refer back to.
Referrals, testimonials, reviews are always good. Talking to other of your friends who have built homes before and asking what they like and didn't like about their experience, and then asking your prospective builders questions related to that, see how they handle those.
So you think it would be beneficial for our owners to ask specifically, would you handle the packaging of making sure that the engineering, structural, all of that?
Yeah, ideally, yeah. So, I mean, if you want a full service program, and I say full service, there are people who want to do a lot of stuff themselves, and for a lot of different reasons. If you want a full service program, you should just say, I want to design the house, an architect, and you handle it from there, and go. We'll pick selections. So you want to have that conversation with your builder expectations. Most of the gentlemen that I know, and ladies that I know in our industry, in our market segment, are set up for that.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
As are we.
Well, that's great. I guess I'm really asking too if there's any things that you should be on the lookout for if a builder will say, "Oh yeah, I'll take care of this," and maybe that's something that you've seen. Not any of your friends do, but just out there in the market.
If you ask your builder about how do you handle civil engineering, or how do you handle your structural, or who's your energy code compliance trade or contractor, and they get a blank look in their eyes, that would be
okay. That's the telltale sign. Great.
I tell you one way to pick out a good builder. Like in Dallas-Fort Worth, we have what's called the Certified Master Builder Program. Certified Master Builder Program is a certification process for builders. And builders to be certified have to submit their financials every year. They go through criminal, and they have to submit a credit background check every year. They have to go through a criminal background check, a credit background check. They have to give referrals to past customers. So we have a group that checks on our builder members to make sure that they're taking care of business, and that's a great way to see that you got a professional builder. And also, as they're part of the Builders Association. We have Dallas Builders Association, and we're part of Greater Fort Worth Builders Association. If you have a builder engaged with professional organizations and is getting certified, most likely they're going to be above average and able to accommodate.
That's great. I just want to give, some perspective for people that just really have no idea what the process is going to be like and how to best prepare themselves. Because as we discuss a lot, this is going to be the biggest investment that many of these families make, if not the biggest. So once everything is done, the plans are done, and everything is finalized, when can construction begin?
Then after you get everything done, sign a contract and take care of all the financial arrangements. If you're using a lender or not, if you use a lender, there's certain things we have to do. We have to go in for building permits and approvals. That can take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, 8 weeks, depending on what community you're in. I mean, in Texas. Now, if you go to other parts of the country, it could be a year. Not good. And then once you get your building permit, you can get going. Now, some communities have what's called an earth disturbance permit. That earth disturbance permit allows us to go do dirt work and do some things ahead of time before we can get our building permit, and those are really great.
What does that mean? What do you get to do?
We can go grade the lot, clean it up, get rid of the trees, set the building pad. Sometimes we can put retaining walls in.
Oh, before
we even have a building permit.
Wow.
And we have to have everything ready to go for the building permit. We pay a fee for it, but that allows you to get a 1 or 2 month head start on it.
Okay. Have you ever done that and something happens with the permitting and it, like maybe something doesn't get approved, or have you seen someone else get started early and then maybe the project doesn't
fully?
Absolutely.
We have not had that problem before, or that issue before. I shouldn't say problem. It's issue. It's not a problem. It's just the way the world works. But we have seen projects that they started grading or put forms up, and then they had to pull off, and it just didn't happen.
And it didn't happen at all? Wow.
And but there could be other reasons too. It could be, family life circumstances or whatever,
Absolutely.
life changes. But, going back to this, building a custom luxury home is one of the most significant financial endeavors that any family will make. But also is one of the biggest emotional endeavors a family will make, short of kids, which are kind of important, is the building the home, the emotion and the focus and energy that families put into it, and the anticipation is pretty significant. And you want your builder to be aware of that and recognize that it's not just a money transaction. This is about where your family's going to live, grow, prosper. You're going to have great memories and stuff like that. And you want your builder to make sure any builder you choose needs to be aware of that.
And yes, absolutely. It needs to understand that vision. So we certainly hope that y'all have found this episode helpful. If this is your first time building a custom luxury home, we invite you to go back over this process again and again, however many times you need to. Of course, we're going to write down some bulleted points in the caption as well. But really ask your builder questions and get to know them and understand them and get to know their personality, and make sure that they understand your family's vision, because ultimately you're going to be there for a long time. We hope that you're going to be there for a long time, so we want you to enjoy it. Thank you so much. Thank you again, Mike, and y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching Uniqueness Built In. Have you seen something interesting on our show that you would like us to elaborate on? Or perhaps you've seen something out in the wild that you want us to talk about on our show? Feel free to email us at the email on the screen, info@garabedianproperties.com.